And we are live.
Lovely. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be part of your August podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Alia, so much for being here today. Hello, everyone. This is Teachers Beyond Teaching, Mina. This is our August podcast, and we are thrilled to have Alia with us this month. So let me give a quick introduction about Alia. Alia will be discussing with us establishing online schools and how she has established her own online school and how she can provide you with the knowledge and the experience if you are an educator who are willing to go through the same path as hers. So Alia is a distinguished educational entrepreneur, and she is a consultant and esteemed member of international educational institutions and a visionary founder of Oxford Online School. With a relentless drive to transform education, Alia has not only revolutionized this landscape through Oxford Online School, but she also lent her experience to government entities, as she has served as a trusted consultant at the Ministry of Education in Albania, where she provided valuable insights, strategic guidance, and innovative solutions to enhance the educational framework of the country. So, welcome, Alia. We are
Thank
so
you,
happy
Isra.
to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, dear. So let's start first. If you'd like to let us know a little bit about yourself and how you got your passion into education and into having your online school.
Okay, well, pleasure will be all mine to give a brief introduction about myself. Um, I graduated in England in 2011, I believe, 2010, 2011. With a business management degree. That pretty much gave me a good overlook or the basic understanding of what is business, key aspect of how to actually run a business. And luckily, obviously, I come from a family who have always been within, or better saying, the business field. So I had a little bit of motivation coming through, I suppose, growing up. Um, After I completed my studies, I actually joined an education consultant to work there. And that's where actually my entire um, um, experience within the education started, working with international students, all different backgrounds, who are looking to study in the UK undergraduate, postgraduate, or research degrees. And that was pretty much an eye-opening in terms of the area and the field where I actually wanted to progress. Now, obviously, is education. Education consistently moves either through the programs, either through curriculums, either pretty much understanding what is happening around the world, how they differentiate from the UK curriculum to other countries' curriculum as well. And I believe that working through with different countries, different nationalities, different characters, understanding curriculum as well itself, it just opens up the eyes to then see what are there or are there any gaps in the market. So that's when the entrepreneur side start kicking in, and then thinking, okay, I've been working in the education sector for over 10, 12 years. So what is there next for me? Do I then just continue within this path, or can I run my own things? And if I did, how would that look any different? So that's a little bit about me. So obviously working within the education, 12 years, working in higher education primarily, because that's where I started. And then moving on to secondary education over the past 7 years really made the differences in my life. So 7 years ago, it's when things went a little bit more more entrepreneurial, thinking outside the box, and what we could do any different than already is.
Amazing. So when was the point, the aha moment when you found out that I want to have my online school? Why not something else in education? You know? So, yeah. So when did that happen?
Okay, so that must have been in March 2020, when all of our students had returned home with their families, and everyone was contacting, can we have online tutors? Can we have online tutors? Because obviously you cannot have tutors driving to your home. Restriction had made that impossible. And that's when I thought, well, hang on a second, because it's a very big market. Obviously, at this time, we were already only providing online tuition 2 years before COVID anyway.
Yeah.
But it was massively growing. And obviously, you then think, what's there that perhaps we need to do and think? So March 2020, I actually was very sick. I did not have COVID, was acid reflux that gives you the same symptom as if you actually had COVID. And I couldn't sleep at night for an entire week. And when you cannot sleep, you have to take your head out of any troubles that you may think that you're perhaps something is happening to your health. And I was researching every night because I couldn't sleep. So I was researching what is in the online market, how is the online market working. A lot of the universities were, as a matter of fact, promoting mostly their online postgraduate degrees, because Open University was the first distance learning provider. Then you had universities that had some sorts of distance learning programs that they actually started to push that furthermore. UCL, as a matter of fact, had the largest online recruiters during COVID, at the start of COVID as well, which was unprecedented previously. So March 2020 is when everything went completely different. And research, I did a research after when I first started. It was in deep 6 months research into online education, not just for secondary education, but in general, understanding the market, understanding the trajectory, understanding how homeschooling is any different, what are there the pros and the cons. So in total was 6 months to pretty much do that all research, and then you decide which way you want to go. Is it yes or no? And we went for yes.
Yeah, it was an absolute yes, right?
It was an absolute yes. And then it took another 3 months to do the branding, the vision, and the strategy. Obviously, that changes with more things that come your way. But technically speaking, in terms of understanding online education, it was around 6 months.
I think COVID has been a turning point to many businesses, and it was a starting point for a lot, and it was an ending point to others. But I think for education, I think it helped us, relearn how education happens and how education occurs, and it's that there are successful educational programs that can be done online. So not everything has to be face-to-face in order to be successful. So this is, I think, one of the things that COVID has proven to us as humans worldwide, that technology, if implemented or utilized properly, if you have the right strategy, as you've mentioned, if you've done the right market research, you can actually make a change in education. So
absolutely. I think in terms of, because we consistently go back and refer to COVID, I think what COVID actually did was pretty much enforcing or reinforcing, maybe the word forcing would be much better to use, accepting technology as a way of moving forward, whether we liked it or not, whether we were against it or pro it, whether we were somewhere in between. It really just gave us that push that, yes, I am here to stay, you guys, whether you like it or not. It's a way of living. So it's a way of people pretty much doing a lot more independent work. So technology, in a way, enforces that you become more independent. In a way, you're consistently relying on yourself in making those decisions. Yes, using apps, using all sorts of different programs for it. But in the end of the day, you are the one that overrules which way you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely true. So, what did you do to develop yourself in that field, like becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a business owner? Like, did you was it something self-taught, or have you tried any of the, the business programs, or maybe the entrepreneurial programs that are trending nowadays?
Initially, it's completely self-taught. So through my previous work, I've had to undertake a lot of strategic decisions that obviously affect the business, either right way or wrong way. So you learn through that, maybe sometimes in the harshest way. But initially it was, so as I said, I did a business management degree. So obviously you get the basic, you have an understanding what it means to actually run a business, things that are involved within a business. Then things are no longer a theory, they become a practice. So practically, you then think, okay, what I have learned through theory, it's all good. How much of it can it be put to practice? And are there any other skills that I would acquire to be able to then undertake the job that I am aiming for? So it's a combination of things. It's also setting up the mind. So mind is the one thing that you need to pretty much keep it motivated, to think, okay, I'm doing this. What is the purpose that I'm doing this? What will this lead me to? What will I achieve out of all of this? And I did a short program with Harvard, which was pretty much also almost self-taught in entrepreneurship. I did a master's in marketing. And then through everyday reading everything that is new, articles, government policies, also in a way you're consistently self-developing, learning things that help you to get better at your job, to perhaps make more informed decisions. My day-to-day is around 12 to 13 hours. So that's what I work. So it means there is a lot of commitments from my end. Does everybody want to have this kind of commitment? Whether you're on holidays, whether you are at home, whether you're in the office, you consistently are doing things and you cannot switch off. So I don't have a switch off button at the moment. So it means that consistently I'm switched on. Consistently, I'm dealing with different things, some challenges, some proud moments, some cries, some laughs. So, but that's part of it. So these are all things that you, as an entrepreneur, have to manage. Yourself.
I totally understand that. And actually, because one of our followers have had this question, like, if you want to start your online school, which is considered a kind of business, so should
it's a full-time business, not just a business.
Exactly. So should I have a degree in business or business related field in order to be able to do it or not? And this is why I asked you, this question. We usually keep the followers' questions at the end, but it comes in, in the same topic that we're talking about. So let's say that you haven't like had this background of business knowledge. Do you think you would have been able to reach the
skills?
Same?
Yeah, some skills they are like instinct skills. They are developed. How it's very difficult to explain, because they almost as if you've had them all your life, whether it's the risk-taking part, whether it's the vision part. These are things that obviously you could perhaps even be born with some of these. Some others I know in my life through the education field, even perhaps yourself, I've known people who did not have a business degree, but yet again, they have those instinct skills that is just within them. And they've gone and have grown businesses, which could be, or education establishment, which could be worth millions. So is it necessary? For some that do not have the instinct skills, maybe perhaps so. So the decision making process has got an A to Z for them to really understand which way they are going. And for those that have the instinct, it just comes naturally. An entrepreneur, because I have taught entrepreneurship as well, because as much as I love it, takes risks, and those risks either pay off or don't pay off. And an entrepreneur doesn't always make decision based on funds. It makes decision based on what it actually will give people back. If you feel like it's a risky area, always just go with maybe a short-term program that could elevate those understanding of the decision-making process. Those that perhaps may have started something initially and it's taking their time, continue, because you're the last person to laugh. But if you do not have it, just don't do it. Otherwise, you're just going to end up putting yourself into troubles with it. And then the disappointment that could perhaps come behind it, maybe it's not worth it. So it's not for everybody. And it's to develop a business from A, there will be long days. And are you prepared for it? Because I am. That's something that that's what motivates me. I am motivated to do what I'm doing. But if you're not, then you're putting to risk a lot of things. So be careful with that.
Okay, and those are like extremely important tips, because everything you say, I try to reflect it upon my own journey as well, and I can see that, yeah, it resonates. It resonates with everything that's happening to us at Teaching as well, and how it all started. So when it comes to risk taking, when you started Oxford Online School, where did you have another job, like, let's say, because some people would say, I won't be able to risk being, without a steady job while I'm starting my own business. There has to be a steady income coming in case this doesn't work, or at least to help, in getting the first couple of years going until Oxford or the online school itself, or the project itself starts, creating revenue. So were you working full-time at Oxford from day one when you started?
No. So when I started to develop Oxford Online School, I was already working full-time for our other company, which obviously we had already established in 2017, I think. We had done some rebranding to it, but that was my full-time job. And from 5 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till 10, 11 o'clock at night, sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning, I was working in Oxford Online School. And that was obviously my time. And I had to give my free space to do something that I very much believed in. Mm-hmm. And that was for 2 years.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot of commitment. Yeah. Okay, so when you start your own business, you should always have some kind of the dream team, as I like to name them. Like, you have a couple of people, or even one person that you can really count on, or someone that you can go to or for support. How did you know that the people that you first started your online school with were the right people?
It's a very good question. the dream team is what everybody likes to dream of, and you can achieve it. It's not that you can't. I was immensely super lucky to have worked in an industry where I have met the people, and I'll say our first tutors who actually made my life so easy. They carried almost the project and really just worked with the students to an extent that whatever else I was doing, it's almost like they lifted me up consistently. And having experience working with such great team from the very start, you firstly appreciate the people that work with you and thank them for everything, because without a dream team, any project that you'll put forward may easily die. And they've pretty much set those standards for us to really just bring people who are very much like-minded, who've got the flexibility, who've got the love, who've got the respect for work, that have made that entire difference. And within that, I think having had that very good experience from the start, and being supported by the teachers that we hired, have really made a difference.
Yeah, because
But as
it's Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
as the company grows, everything becomes more difficult, because it's managing characters, managing expectation, managing workload. How then do you then set up the people that will have the right skills to then take your vision to the next level? And then how do these people now how will these people, better say, will continue on being motivated? So the one difficult thing that is within the entrepreneurial world is actually working with people, managing people. That is, I think, the hardest puzzle to put together for it to become successful. As any company has its own little issue. Sorry, let me remove my Apple Watch so that it doesn't interfere. As any company has got issues that you have to deal, but they are so minor at the moment that we are lucky. But further we grow, further out of the world we expand, more and more we will come across areas that we perhaps haven't dealt previously. We will learn how to deal with them, and we'll obviously always find a solution to it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, because when you're dealing with people, especially from different backgrounds with different personalities and different psychological aspects, so it gets harder as the company grows, and the more people you have, it gets harder. So most people think that, or let's say when they see the flashy image of companies and that they successfully did this and successfully did that, they don't see the blood and sweat behind it, and they don't
see 12, 13 hours of work.
Yes, how much effort and how much sacrifices that you need to do in order to be there. So let's say that now I'm a teacher and I want to start my own business, whether as an online school or any private business in education. Like, what are the expectations that they should have from day one when they take the decision until they can actually see the dream of having a successful business come true?
Now, firstly, it depends the country that you're based. Number one. I'm lucky that I live in the UK, and a lot of the information is so available on the portals, government portals. applications
I
can be
totally
easily
agree on this point.
Yeah.
I totally agree on this point. Yes.
So certain things are super easy because depends on how they are laid out. And then there is the difficult part, is perhaps the accreditations.
Mhm.
For example, when I started off the Oxford Online School, there was only one awarding body that was allowing online provision.
Mhm.
And now almost all the awarding bodies accept online providers.
Yeah.
So that's already 3 years down the line, a lot has changed. Government, do they all accept homeschooling or the kind of perhaps business idea that you are about to launch? So is it something that you will be supported with? And if so, that makes it easier. If not, are there any legislation that are coming out that perhaps will make your business idea feasible or not? So expectation, keep them to minimum, but work as if you're actually going to achieve something, because only then you will know that whatever you're doing, it's making a difference. When we
Yeah.
started Oxford Online School, the UK government allows online schooling, but was not approved by the Department of Education. Now, 3 years later, schools, online school can actually be can actually apply to become offset regulated. So how amazing is that? So things change. There is a lot of updates that you need to be looking for. If you don't, then obviously that puts you at the back of the list rather than the front of the list. If there is a particular field that you have an interest with, always get yourself involved. Otherwise, if you're not, then other people will be much faster because they are there, they've got the networking, they have the resources, they understand what's happening. And you that only read maybe once a month what's happening around, or maybe once a year, then obviously that does not help. Just don't do it. Just don't go for it. It will be a waste of time.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, this is something, that a lot of people would be looking at private business as quick money, while actually it's totally the opposite of that. And it's really good, or it's really important to set your expectations, as you've mentioned, and to try to like do as much, like go 110% with your efforts, until you
Absolutely.
actually, yeah, until you
First,
uh-huh.
yeah, the first thing that I did before even after I completed the 6 months research, the first thing that I did, I actually contacted the Department of Education and I asked them, are online school approved by the Department of Education? And they said no, but there is a bill that is coming out and we're working on it. So I was consistently updated. I was consistently up to date with whatever was happening. 3 years on, I would know what was happening. But we're talking the UK. Even if, for example, you may be based in Egypt, maybe based in China or other countries, get yourself involved. Even if there isn't much updates that you may perhaps are looking to, ask. If there isn't, ask. Because somebody may know something that you do not know, or somebody may give you like an information that soon will become available. Just don't stop. If it's something that you've set up in your mind, go for it. Lower the expectation in the sense that do not work, but the information that you may find may not necessarily be available to you right away. You may have to do a lot of research. You may have to do a lot of battling. But on the other end, if it works, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah. So you have to keep going, even if it takes longer than expected, even if it's harder than you expected. But if you have the vision and you believe in what you do, then you should keep going, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now this takes us to Oxford Online School. What do you think makes your school special? What makes it different from other online schools?
Oh, um, special. Well, I'm special. I'm just putting a joke in here. Why are we special? I believe it's not just the fact that is the flexibility of the school, not the fact that we're already an accredited school, perhaps one of the first one to be having an accreditation body next to us, or awarding body would be the right word to use. It's actually the team. The team that makes the school a lot special. The fact that we want the school to really just give the students the opportunity for them to also stand out. They shouldn't be looked anywhere different from those that go to a physical school, because in the end of the day, certificates are all the same. Yes, there is no physical school, but we are still people. The students still attend the live lessons on weekly basis. They still get their mentoring through. They still get the care, the same as they would be in a physical school. But mostly would be the people that make all of this as a different. And we may have the most prettiest brand, we may have the most beautiful website and all of these, but if the right people are not there, then nothing makes us any special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you say that the team or the people
The
that
personal care.
yes, yes, and how they cater to their students' needs. This is
Correct.
actually what makes Oxford School special, right?
Yeah. Well, it does. I cannot compare it with other schools because obviously I do not work for the other schools. And it will be unfair for us to compare ourselves with other schools.
Yes, yeah,
Because
I
each
totally
and each
agree
and
with you.
each
Yeah.
and all of these schools are special in their own way. Perhaps they're doing an additional extracurricular activity that puts people all together. Some
Mm,
may be putting more effort towards science students. Some may be perhaps looking after students with very low income and still providing. So every single school is special in their own way.
yes.
So we could be special in the sense that the teachers are providing the personal touch. Other schools may have the different aspect that we do not have it.
Mhm.
And we cannot have all 100%. There is always that 10% that will be somewhere still being built. And then when you perfect that, then there is always something else that will come up.
Yes.
Um,
You know, a jack of all trades is a master of none. So we know that this is something that you cannot have everything perfect or everything special, but there is something that Oxford School would be, distinguished at. It could be even one thing that would be more than enough.
yeah, I think personal care would be the one that distinguish us.
Mhm.
But maybe I'm being biased in here because I work within the school. I know how everybody looks after the student. Um, and obviously that would be the one special thing that I think our school does best.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so we don't want, the teachers who or the future entrepreneurs, to get scared from starting their own business. So let's give them, some hope, and let us know, how do you balance your personal life and, professional life right now?
Okay. Balance. Maybe I take half a day on a weekend off, or maybe sometimes I take a day. Uh, Throughout my year, the only time that I actually do rest is New Year's holidays. That is the only time where everything is literally switched off. The phone is quiet, the emails are quiet, and that is the time that I enjoy the most. The rest, I am very switched on.
Even in
But
summer
every
holiday?
Yes, even over the summer holidays, I cannot switch off. As I said earlier, I
Mhm,
don't have that button.
mhm,
But this is person to person.
mhm,
I'm the person that I enjoy working. When I'm in front of the computer and I'm completely switched on in the work, I don't want to leave it. And that's why I have made that choice myself. Can you balance 100%? Because you can work within a time management. You can set yourself when you're off, when you're on working. When do you want to actually take a couple of a weeks break or a couple of days break? I know when mine is. I know for 100% sure that over the winter holidays I'll get the 2 weeks off, and I know that it will be the best rest. But I know that throughout the year, I'll need to really just work through, because it's not just Oxford Online School. We have other entities as well, which are all growing, and they need my 25% of time each. But it doesn't bother me to work, even on my birthday. I just love it. I enjoy it, and
mhm.
I think that's maybe what pushes me the most. The fact that every day there is something that I learned, something that I can do different, something that I'm perhaps helping somebody. And that's me.
Yeah,
Others, and I have met in my life very successful entrepreneurs, and I mean very successful. And they have balanced their work and life very easily.
mhm.
I can balance very easily, but I've chosen to give more to my work than to my personal, because I want to maybe have a much faster retirement life. Maybe that's what pushes me a little bit more in terms of this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so if we want to wrap up our interesting episode today, to be honest, I don't want it to end because I'm learning personally a lot from you, and I'm sure that our followers out there are learning also a lot from you. So, what would be your advice for teachers or educators who want to start their own business or their own online school? What would be the steps? If there are any resources that helped you on your way, maybe you can share with them as well.
Resources. Google is the biggest library you'll ever have in your life,
Mhm.
in terms of what you're looking to find. Um, Firstly, my biggest advice would be search if there is a gap in the market. If there is, then that's already an answer to perhaps the business that you're looking to open.
So market
Um,
research would be
Market
the
research.
first.
Market research is the one factor that
Mhm,
will tell you yes or no.
mhm.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So if you're said that I want to open a pharmaceutical company in a country where perhaps it's not well developed, then certainly you will have a very successful business. But if I opened a beautician company in a city where there could be hundreds of thousands of other beautician companies, that perhaps I may not be as successful, and it perhaps may take longer time for me to achieve what I want. But Google was my main resource. Government website, whether well based here in the UK, would mean that I would access all sorts of data and information that I needed to really just make a informed decision to what I was actually aiming for.
Mhm.
Understanding the numbers in terms of, or asking the right questions, first of all. When you go on Google to do a research, you have to ask the right questions to be able to get the answers that you'd need. And then you create your own file. You create a file with all of the information that you've gained. Where is that information leading you towards? And then you ask the right questions from there on. And then think, okay, would I want to open a tutoring agency? If that's so, and how would that be any different? If I will open an online school, how would that be different from Oxford Online School, maybe from other online schools that are out there? Do a comparison in terms of services that are being offered, programs that are being offered. As a tip, for example, the UK primarily focus on A-level and GCSEs, but there is also the IBs, there is also the APs, there is also the American diplomas. Or perhaps even if you do not want to deliver an international qualification, that what we're talking, perhaps maybe you'd want to deliver the Egyptian online school for students perhaps that may have disabilities, or students that perhaps, again, like here in the UK, could have been bullied in school, and that online school environment is a lot more suited to them. Kids who perhaps have to travel consistently because parents move from city to city. There are so many available options out there in the world. It's nearly a 9 billion population. Yeah. Every and each of us have a different need.
Yeah.
What we did not think that a couple of a decade ago, there wasn't so much of online schooling. Look how far we have come, and now there is online school pretty much opening, hybrid, non-hybrid. You have the self-taught completely version of the online schools. You have those that provide mentoring maybe once every fortnight. All different sorts of model. Finding the model that works, because that
will be, of course.
Yeah. A model that you decide for your business is a model that leads the business.
Yeah.
So any decision that you make in that model, it will come through all of the secondary data that you find through internet articles, website that will provide you with that data. But it may sound a lot. It may sound a lot to do, but if you do not do it, you may end up with wasting your time.
Yeah, yeah. And when it comes to financial tips, like let's say how much should they risk at the beginning, or how much should they invest from their, let's say, monthly income or savings, so they can actually confidently start their business, but without even like having this huge risk on their families, for example, welfare?
Well, the research part, you don't pay for it. It's your own time. Yeah. You pay with your own time. Let's just put it that way. The rest is really just deciding how much the business that you're aiming to set up will cost, i.e. website. Maybe would you need a person to be working full-time while you're actually working part-time and having a full-time job? Is accreditation that perhaps you may have to pay? Is there perhaps an office that you may need? So all of these, you make a plan. The first, as I said, the first couple of months maybe could be for free. Free in the sense that it's your time.
Yes.
So nobody's going to pay you for it. And the rest, it all depends what you want to achieve. To some, it may cost 1,000. To some, it may cost 20, 30, 40, 50,000. There is no price to where you start and where you end, because it all depends on the vision that you want. Branding, how much money is it going to go through branding? I knew in my head what I wanted, and I'd already got it so clear that it did not take time for the person that did our branding to really just put that concept together. But if you do not know, then obviously how many times you will have to pay for the branding in itself, the color, how the website will look like. All of this will make a huge difference. And obviously, as I keep on just putting into quotes, is your time, the time that obviously nobody pays for, but is very expensive.
Yeah. Actually, the most expensive thing you invest in your project, I think,
Is
because
your time.
yes, totally agree. And as you've mentioned, like at the beginning, when you have a clear vision, when you have a clear goal, it makes things easier on the way. So when you go for branding, when you go for marketing, when you go for, like your target audience. So if you have the right planning or the right vision, the right goal from the beginning, this would save a lot of time, effort, and money, I think.
Absolutely. So in my case, I really knew what I was going for. I had already done my vision board in my head. I exactly knew that I was going for this, and I was going 100%. I wasn't slowing down. As a matter of fact, I've consistently kept up with the time that I've put in. But I had to make changes throughout the process, and primarily they were focused on the business model, because that is the most important one. And sometimes in there you may be wasting money because you have to try, and what works, what doesn't work. So there is the plan A, that is the one that everybody would love to go for. And then you have to always work on plan B and plan C. And I've had to touch on plan B quite a lot. But that meant that obviously you're putting extra funds in. You waste money because you're paying the introductory fee of a lot of the things that perhaps you have not come across before. But in the end, it has been really well worth it for myself. I love it. I love where it's going. I love the fact that we've had some fantastic A-level and GCSE results. And it's just that community, building a community of people that have got their goals in their mind. And that's, I think, is the best.
Yeah. So one more tip is to accept that sometimes it doesn't work as you planned, and you need to do some changes, and that is okay. It doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that it's the end of the world or it's the end of your dream, but you just need to be flexible and to have a growth.
Absolutely. Flexibility is very important because if you're not flexible, and if the model that you're going for just does not work, then if you're pushing for it, it's just going to fail. So you have to adapt. And you have to have a very open mind to that, and balance the decision-making process within that.
Okay. So anything else you would like to add before we end our episode today?
Yes, just don't be scared. And if somebody laughs at you, I got told once, if they're laughing at you, it means that you're going to have a successful business.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you, Alia, so much for your time today. It was a pleasure having you today. A lot of information that you have given us, a lot of tips, and we thank you for your for sharing your experience with us. And we wish you all the success for Oxford Online School, which I'm sure that it's a huge success already.
Thank you so much, Isra, for having me in your podcast. Thank you very much for really just allowing other colleagues from different parts of the world to listen to my side. But it's a very big world, and there is plenty of space for all of us to become successful.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all, and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Likewise. Goodbye.